Hello everyone. In this video, we will be focusing on Microsoft 365 Admin Center portal. Under MS500, Microsoft 365 Certified Security Administrator Associate, we will be focusing on Microsoft 365 Admin Center to provide identities and authentication. Let's begin. I'm Kushant Gunwardana. Today, I will take you through some of the important areas of Microsoft 365 Admin Center in terms of identities and authentication. This is Microsoft 365 admin portal. So if you look at the URL, it will be admin.microsoft.com. If you have proper administration rights, so you can access this portal. So if you look at on your left, so first thing you would notice is users. When it comes to identities, usernames are really important. And if you click on active users, it would show you the list of users in your tenant. Whenever you would want to create a user, you can use this option, add user. If you click on this, you would get a menu to create a user, right? So once it's loaded up, you would see you need to enter first name, last name, display name, and username. And if you notice, it will be automatically detecting your domain name. In this case, we have this part is tenant ID or tenant prefix, and then you have on Microsoft.com until you change your domain name with custom domain. And also you can use auto generate password, and then you can assign product licenses. So let's go and have a look this later. Uh, for now, I'm going to take you through some of the options available within this admin center. So once you create a user, you can assign proper licenses. As you can see, these users are having Office 365 E5, Enterprise Mobility, and Security E5 licenses. And if you go to contacts, these are all contacts. These are searchable in your global address list. And then if you go to guest users, these users are external users. So whenever you want to create a guest user, you wouldn't see any option to create guest user here. But if you need to create guest users, you can use the Azure Active Directory Admin Center here. So this comes as a part of Microsoft 365 Admin Center now. Actually, whenever you create a user, users will be created on Azure Active Directory. So using this portal, you can go and have a look on Azure Admin Center. So you would see a limited set of functionalities when you compare with Azure Active Directory, but this one is a part of Microsoft 365 Admin Center, but you can do some of the administrative tasks using Azure Active Directory Admin Center. Here, if you click on all users, you would see this option to create a guest user. So you would see the same set of users that we were looking at on Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Under active users, you would see same set of users in Azure Active Directory. Right, so these are the users, and if you want to create a guest user, you can do so using this link. You can create either directly, you can create a user, and then it will when you create a user, it will take again your domain prefix, and at the same time you can invite user using non-Microsoft account here. So you can use any uh, email address, something like example.gmail.com. Once you invite, this invitation will receive by the user, but he needs to use a Microsoft account to access it. So once he hacks access, once he registered, he will be shown under guest users. Right? Whenever you delete a user, user will be moving to deleted user option. If you have any deleted users, you have option of restoring these users up to 30 days. And then these are groups. If you click on groups, you can create different types of user groups here. So in order to management, it's really easy. For an example, if you click add group, you can create a user. So there are four types of users available in Microsoft 365. Microsoft recommended user type is Office 365 user group now. And then you have distribution group where you can create a member list or distribution email list. And then you have mail enabled security that can be used in OneDrive or SharePoint. And also you have security groups to provide proper privileges or permissions in OneDrive or SharePoint. But if you create Office 365 group, it's really useful, especially when you want to work with Microsoft Teams, Yammer, and SharePoint. So let's move on, and then you need to provide the group name. Let's say demo group in this case, and let's say demo, and then you can specify owners here. Let's say I'm gonna specify Alan as a owner, and then click on next, and then I can create a group email address. Let's say demo group, and then you can create either public group, which means anybody can see group content, or you can create private group here. And then you can create Microsoft Teams if you want to. If not, you can go on and you can complete this. So then you have created a group, Microsoft 365 group, Office 365 group, and it will be shown here. And if you delete a group, it will be moved into deleted group tab here. And within 30 days, you can restore the group to the original location, but you will get only 30 days, right? And then if you go to roles, it would show you administrative roles within Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You have Exchange Admin, Global Admin. Global Administrator is the most powerful or privileged the group. And if you want to create anyone global administrator, so you can click on and you can make a global administrator here. And also you can assign admins there, you can search and you can select anybody as a global administrator here. And then you have different types of administrators, help desk admins, service admins, and so on and so forth. So ideally, Microsoft recommends you to use or assign a least privileged policy, where you are assigning a person to provide his work or perform his work the lowest or least permission within these roles. If you want to enable multi-factor authentication, usually when you create a user will get a password authentication. So user can provide username and password combination. But in order to improve your security, you can enable multi-factor authentication. So this is really easy. If you go and click on multi-factor authentication, you will be redirected to multi-factor authentication configuration page. And then so this is the one, account.activedirectory windowsazure.com. So these are the same set of users. If let's say if you want to enable this user's multi-factor authentication, you can just go and enable it, enable multi-factor authentication. So if you want to enable everyone, all users, so you can select all users by here, and you can do group enable multi-factor authentication here. Once you enable, users will be required or users requested to register for multi-factor authentication. Either they can use Microsoft Authenticator, or they can combine their mobile number to receive SMSs in order to verify themselves during authentication. If you need to add multiple users, you have few ways of doing that. So first one is you can click on this, and then you can download these CSV file headers, which will have different columns. Let me open up this. So once you open it, you would see different set of columns in this Excel file, and then you need to update accordingly here: username, first name, last name, display name, and so on and so forth. And once you do that, you can upload it to Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and then you can verify and you can create bulk users. This will create bulk users in your Microsoft 365 Admin Center. This is one way of doing that, and there are some other ways too. One is, again, you can do ID synchronization, if you have existing Active Directory domain services, you can synchronize these identities with Microsoft 365 Admin Center portal. Next one is, as you have seen, we have default domain here. So default domain usually consists of uh, your prefix or tenant prefix, tenant ID again, and on Microsoft.com. But if you want to add your custom domain, now Microsoft 365 Admin Center provides a feature to add your existing domain or add a new domain or buy a new domain, and you can add it. For an example, you can have your own domain there. For example, let's see if I want to connect my kushanta.com domain, I can enable it here. So click add domain, and then you need to provide your domain name here, and then I can say use this domain, and then it would ask me to provide connect certain configuration there. So it's going to, yeah, this is the text record. So I need to create this text record on the domain service provider. Let's say, for an example, GoDaddy. I need to create a text record with relevant information, and then we need to verify it. And then Microsoft will verify this with domain name provider. Then your domain name will be available under a domain section here. Once the domain name is available, you can make it default. Now this is incomplete, but once you complete it, it will become healthy here. Then you can select it and you can make it default. You can make it default. Once you make it default, whenever you create a user, remember we were creating users here, then users will have as a default domain the domain that you configured. In this case, I have a domain name as this part, but whenever you have your custom domain configured as a default domain, your users will have instead of this fully qualified domain name, they will have a specific domain name. So I hope this is informative, and I hope to take you through other features and functions available in Microsoft 365 in next videos. Thanks for viewing.